because it's all designed, they're just TV screens based around the centre point, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But what I want you to do is, you'll see there's a key with a little plastic tag hanging off it.
Yeah.
You want to turn that to position number 1.
Looks like it is.
Alright, go back to off, so just go back to 0 with it. Yeah. Go back to 1 now. Yeah, okay. Now what you should see is you should see everything light up.
There we go.
That's called a lamp test. So what the train's actually doing is checking that all of those bulbs work properly. Okay. So what we're going to do next is, on your right hand side there are 2 radios.
Radios, okay.
Yeah, and the bottom one says enter destination code. Can you see that?
Yes.
So if you try typing in 07, and then you're going to press, see there's like a black round control on the right of the radio.
Oh, yes.
Just press it down. That's like the enter function. And then you want to put in a driver number, so for argument's sake, just put in 123. Enter again. So what that's doing is that's setting the destination information on the front of the train.
Yeah.
So it'll now say St. James on the front of the train.
Okay.
And it's also put your driver number in so we know who was driving the train at the time.
Okay.
So beneath it, if you can see it, there are 3 buttons.
Yes.
And one of them says ready to start. Now if you press that, that's going to tell the signalling system that we're ready to leave.
Okay.
So if you press that, it'll light up. And the signal in front of you should probably change in the next half minute or so to green. Information to take.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Now, the next thing we need to do is let some passengers on the train.
Yeah, that'll be important.
So directly in front of you, we've got the speedometer. Beneath it, there's a switch you've got your finger on, which suggests which side the train should open the door. So if you turn it to left, because the platform is on your left, and you'll notice there's a yellow button flashing now. If you press that, the doors will release. And you'll see that you've got, like, on your right, the passenger DOO equipment. So you can see people getting on and off the train.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
So once they're all on, you're going to press the red button to the left of your left hand, which closes the doors and interlocks them. Once all the doors have locked and closed, the red light will extinguish and you'll go back to getting that flashing yellow again.
Yes.
So the doors are now closed on the train. Okay? Just leave the switch where it is in the middle.
Okay.
Because otherwise you end up having to faff with it the whole time. So, do you drive a car?
Yes.
Do you take the handbrake off before you leave?
Yes.
We'll try that then. So, to the left, you've got 2 screens on your left, and there's a series of buttons, and one's a blue P.
Let's see, blue P, blue P.
It's a physical
there.
button. The one beneath it shows a little brake symbol.
Yes.
So if you press the second one down, now release what is called the parking brake, or the spring-loaded brake. So this scenario here is like a driver is physically come into the station, terminated and changed ends of the train.
Okay.
So they wouldn't use that all the time. You won't use it between stations, but that is something that's used when you're kind of leaving the cab and changing ends of the train.
Okay.
There is the good news. You want to select forward, so there are 2 physical controllers sticking up from the desk on your left. There's a big one and a little one. If you push the little one forward, that is your direction selected. So you've now told the train you want to go forward.
Okay.
Okay? And the final thing is, next to the switch, which you use to select the doors under the speedometer, there is a red button which says DRA.
Yes.
Now, why that is in is, that button is depressed when the train is standing at a red signal, and it cuts the power off, so you wouldn't be able to make the mistake of driving away against the red signal.
Okay.
So that's preset as well. So now that signal is cleared to a green, you can take that button off.
Alright.
Okay? Believe it or not, we're now able to move the train. It's sounds like a lot of process, which obviously if you've never driven a train before, it probably is, but this is all fairly basic stuff to the drivers who've obviously done for a long time. So, when you're ready, you will check that the platform's clear on your screen on your right, and then you will push the controller forward for power. Now, before we do that, there's a pedal on the floor. Got it?
Yep.
Now, every 45 seconds, you're going to need to lift your foot up and then back down. And that is telling the train that you're alive.
Okay.
Basically. If you take your foot off it, or you forget to remake it, you'll hear an alarm. And if you don't respond to it, the emergency brake on the train will apply.
Okay.
So we'll see how far you get before that. But the best thing I can suggest is every 30 seconds or so, just lift your foot off it for a second and press back down.
Okay.
Okay, mate? So when you're ready, we'll get going. The speed out of here is 35. Now we're just coming up to an 80 board at the top of Crossgate Viaduct, so once you get your train past that, you can power it up to 80 kilometers an hour.
Alright.
So go full power, get it up to 80, and when you get to 80, you're going to go back to the middle position where the controller was where you started.
Okay.
That is like a coasting position or a freewheeling position.
Yeah, maintenance.
It's good.
Okay, so off the power there. Now, you've got a yellow signal coming up. That is where you're going to start braking for the next platform. So we'll put it into brake. We're aiming for 35 kilometers an hour at the end of the platform.
Okay.
So you need to judge the distance and the speed and aim for 35. I would give it a bit more. Want the train to stop right at the end of the platform.
A little bit too far.
A little bit too far, but I think you're alright, that's not bad. Now we're at stand, you'll see that the yellow light's flashing again on your left hand side.
Yes.
So you're going to release the platform doors again. Same again, once all your passengers are on, you can close the doors.
Alright.
Your interlock, you've got a green signal and you've also got a speed limit board on your left which says 70k, so that's what we're going to do.
Alright.
So full power out here.
I volunteer at a train museum in the US where I'm a conductor on one of the trains, and I'm used to having to blow the horn twice before we start moving, because that's like, the law says you have to blow the horn twice before you can move.
Yeah, Americans like sounding the horn in the bell.
Yes.
I think it would give me a headache.
Yeah, it gives me a headache sometimes.
It's the bell that does my head in. I can't work out how you put up with that bell.
Yeah.
So we're just coming around the corner now towards Tyne Dock, and you will see in a second a speed board that says 80 kilometers an hour. There you go, on your left. So you can power up now to 80 kilometers an hour.
I'm impressed.
Alright, good. Excellent.
Then you can come off the power there, and then I want you to brake around about now. And again, look for that 35 at the platform end. Break it down to a stop at the end of the platform with you want the front of the train just at the tip of that platform. Not bad. I see it probably a couple of feet further back, but overall
Okay.
pretty good. And then you can release the doors again. once you've got all the passengers on the train, you can close your doors.
Is there an actual camera on the real train looking down at the coupler as well, or what we're seeing here?
There was originally, that's now gone.
Right, any reason why?
I can't remember why it was in the original specification, but it's been removed now. You can view the coupler through a different, through the next CCTV tab if you're coupling and uncoupling the trains.
Got you.
Yeah.
It doesn't show it on the simulator, but in real life you can. If we get a minute, we'll try and get on the real train as well.
Okay.
So when you're ready, you're going to set the weight to 60 kilometers an hour because that's the restriction through Tyne Dock Tunnel.
All right.
So this is also part of the problem for train driving. So you're currently in an 80 kilometer an hour restriction, but I know it's going to come down to 60. So there's no point in powering up to 80.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So just give it a little rub of the brake to keep it at 60 because it does dip a little bit here in the tunnel. I think you're going to be alright though.
No, it is. I'm getting a sensation.
Alright, movement.
Yeah.
Totally realistic, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, they'll bring it back to 60 kilometers an hour. Now we're approaching Simonside platform 2. On the left-hand side, there's going to be a symbol turns up on a signal on an overhead line mast, which looks like a little warning triangle with a traffic light on. We're going to brake there. See on your left?
Yes.
So 35 at the platform end. Okay, so have you spotted anything that's different?
The red signal.
Okay, so do you remember that DRA button?
Yes.
You need to press it.
All right.
And you can let your passengers off, that's fine. I'll give you a bit of what happens in real life and see if you can work it out. Metro control to train 121, are you receiving over?
Yes. I'm receiving.
Pick up the lower radio handset on the right hand side of your desk. So you might need to push, there's two little tabs, hold the actual handset down, you'll have to push them together to release the handset.
Let's see.
They're like either side, it's a bit of a tricky thing to do, they're either side of the handset.
Oh, on the side. Okay. I think I got it. Wait.
You're not the first person to have a battle with that.
Let's see. I can feel the.
It's further towards the other end.
I can feel it. Let's see.
Is it on the handset
Oh,
itself?
here it is. Okay. Yes, I'm receiving. Copy that. Clear to proceed. Pass the signal at danger. Proceed at restricted speed and obey all other signals.
So in real life, that's what they'd really say to you. They have to actually tell you the reason why it can't be cleared. They have to tell you that you've got authority to what we call overriding pass the signal at danger.
Okay.
And they would also tell you to obey all other aspects because what they don't want you to do is disregard the other ones.
Yeah. I can do
So,
that.
to move off, you're going to have to take the DRA out. And what we do is we do sound the horn on this occasion because it might be that somebody working on the track would be thinking that they're protected by a signal at danger. because it's a reasonable leap of faith to think that a train isn't going to drive past a red signal.
Yeah.
But in this case it is. So we'll sound the horn. At the back it makes a low tone. You get 2 either way.
Yeah.
Okay? And then what you're going to do is, do you see where your little selector switch is in the middle of the cab desk again?
Yes.
Can you see to the left of it there's a blue button that says override?
Yes.
That's why I told you you've got authority to override and pass the signal of danger.
Okay.
So you're going to press and hold that button and it'll light up. Okay, you've got to keep your finger on it. Yeah? And now you're going to drive past the signal, holding that button in.
Alright.
Okay? So that will tell the train to ignore the equipment that will try to stop it as it goes past that signal. Now you'll also need to keep it at about 25 kilometers an hour. And the reason being is, can you see there's a yellow light lit up now that says speed limit?
Yes.
That's restricting the train's speed to a maximum of 30 because you passed a signal of danger.
Okay.
With permission. So that's there, and it won't actually go away again until you go past the next green signal.
Okay.
That's the way that the system resets. So you can have a slow trip up to B, where you can stop and do your station duties again.
So does the test monitor still dip when you get over a magnet?
Sorry, did you say something? Please just pop back in to look at this tether issue.
Yeah. Does the test monitor still dip when you go over a magnet?
I don't believe so, off the top of my head.
Does it still do that on the train though?
Oh, it should do on the 59s, yeah.
I don't think it does on the new sets, mine. Off
Is
the
it
top,
not?
off the top of my head.
See, because that was just to let you know that you went over a magnet.
Yeah.
So it would just flicker. Substation.
So we'll stop here and we'll obviously do the normal thing. We'll release the doors and let everybody out and stuff.
Good thing with the simulator, at least all the PIDs is working.
Yeah. So if you start looking to your left and right, you'll see that some of the housing's changed dramatically as well.
Barber factory's turned to a Guinness factory.
Now what you'll notice as you go past the next green signal,
Speed limit will come on.
you might have been a little bit too far. If you go back to the off position and then try it again.
There we go.
The train doesn't like it if you go from brake straight to power really quickly.
Okay.
So just keep it, you'll notice you'll hear a beep and the speed limit light will go out.
That's
there you
not
go.
that there, flicker.
So now you can get it up to 60k. And what we're looking for as we come around the corner is 2 green signals, which will mean you hit the gyro platform 2. Now you can power up to full light speed of 80k again. So just about to come over the A19 road bridge, which would be for the Tyne tunnel. And on your right, you've got a track coming in from Jarrow Oil Terminal, which is where freight trains are running now.
Okay.
And then just after this next bridge, you're going to come back down to 60 kilometers an hour. So we need to brake down to 60. start breaking down for Jarrett. Okay. So for our next trick, I've just turned the overhead line off because it's lost power.
Okay.
So you can see if you look to your diagnostic
Yeah, I
page,
see the light. I saw the light come on.
it also says HSCB, which is not a bank, it's the high-speed circuit breaker, has opened because of an undervoltage, which tells us that the train has tripped its main power supply because of a lack of power.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is, you can see that there's a button lit up on the desk
Yeah.
behind
Yes.
by the speedo, and it shows like a circuit breaker open.
Yes.
So that tells, basically you've got your pantograph can raise and lower, but you've also got your circuit breaker, which is effectively the main on and off switch
Okay.
for the train. And because of that lack of power, it's opened the breaker, which is effectively having it off. So the next thing you need to do is to lower the pantograph in this situation, which is the button beneath it.
All right.
You'll press it, it will flash, and then it'll drop the pantograph. Okay, so this is the thing the 555 can do that the current fleet of trains can't, which is drive without an overhead power supply.
Oh.
So it's got an onboard set of batteries, which are called an energy storage system, which allows it to drive without overhead line power. So we need to put the train into the right modes to do that. So even though you've dropped the pantograph, we still have to tell the train that we want to carry on with just the battery power, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, on your far left-hand side computer screen, the first image on the top row on your left shows a little image of the pantograph and the circuit breaker.
Yes.
So if you click on that soft key to press it, yeah, and can you see on the bottom left it'll say CFO.
Yes.
That is catenary free operation. So if you press that button, it'll like grey up when you press it.
There you go.
Okay, now that you are now in catenary free mode. Another way you can work out of that if you were in catenary free mode is if you look at the next screen across, it says diagnostic main page, and beneath it it says train mode CFO.
Yes.
But while you've been driving along you won't have noticed it, but that'll have said train mode normal. It now says train mode CFO.
Okay.
So now you can drive the train. It'll be a little slower than it was before, but you can still drive it normally.
Do I need to close the circuit breaker?
No, circuit breaker stays open, so you need to close your doors and then you can continue as normal, and you probably want to get up to 60 kilometers an hour leaving here.
How long will the batteries last?
Still a bit of an open question, it depends very much on the situation.
Yeah.
So if you were driving an empty train on a level piece of track, it could probably be quite easy for quite a while. But if you were going to be driving up the hill from, say, Haymarket to Jesmond with a full load of passengers, it gets through the battery pretty quick.
Right, got you.
But I know for a fact that one's come back from Pelo to the depot without any bother so far,
Right.
a couple of times.
And is that with passengers on as well?
You can take passengers in CFO mode, there's nothing that stops you from doing that. But, you know, realistically, it depends on the reason why you're using it.
Yeah.
If it's because there's something wrapped around the overhead line and we want to get trains moving through it, it's going to be a lot quicker. But if you're in CFO mode because the train has, for argument's sake, a damaged pantograph, then you'll be getting off the system and getting people off the train anyway.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. You see the difference, like
You can feel it.
Accelerating very slowly.
Yeah, definitely.
Experience having used it in real life, it's actually a little bit different to how the simulator does it. It'll get up to 60 kilometers an hour pretty easily.
Right.
But above trying to push it fully up to 80k is a little bit naff, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
It's just not quite. It's not quite as strong up that speed. If that makes sense.
What was the idea of totally changing the buildings? Is that so drivers didn't just become too reliant on using a simulator in and when they're out there, or was it just because it was cheaper to do that, just dropping random buildings anywhere?
I think what it is that when you buy like the simulator package, I think you get a certain number of buildings. Like
Scenarios.
Bespoke
I think
with
you get a
this
certain
system.
number of custom built buildings.
Yeah.
So, for example, the learning centre's there in full.
Right.
Gosforth Control Centre, the depot, but then obviously other buildings are just like pre-populated from like a library of buildings that I think quarries must have.
I was just wondering if they didn't want it to be too lifelike, so drivers didn't just become sort of muscle memory, if you know what I mean. You know, once they've been on the simulator, this is what we're really going to see inside.
Yeah.
Inside the boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honest, I'm really, really impressed with this, mate. This is absolutely fantastic.
So we want to start braking now for heaven. Just coming up there, you can see the platform end coming up before that bridge.
Yes.
Because you've not carried as much speed, you obviously don't need to be braking as hard to, do you know what I mean? To
Yes,
get to a start.
yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the train back to normal, and then we're going to put it into parking mode as if we were changing drivers.
Okay.
So I'll talk you through that. So the first thing you need to do is go back to the screen where you've got CFO mode in.
Yes.
And you need to press that CFO key again.
Alright.
Right? That's taking the train back to normal mode, as you can see on the next screen to your right.
Yes.
Then we're going to raise the pantograph again to get power back, because I've put the power back on.
Okay.
So to do that, you're going to press the top button, which is the main circuit breaker one that was lit up first.
Alright.
What that will do is raise the pantograph and then close the main circuit breaker, and you'll notice that you'll see the voltage come back up on the screen where it says U primary.
Yes.
Yeah. So you now have normal overhead line power again.
Okay.
So to put the train into parking mode to change driver, we're going to put the DRA in, if you can remember what that is. We're going to put the selector switch back to the middle. The door selector switch.
Oh, door selector switch, okay.
Yeah, you do need to do those two as well, but we like to work through things in a pattern from like one side of the cab to the other.
Okay.
Because it's easier if you build a process, if you
Yeah.
actually learn how to do it. So you're going to put the master controller back into the middle. Yeah. You've got your direction selector in the middle. Now, can you remember where the parking brake was?
Parking brake.
Spring brake.
It's right here, right?
Second one down beneath
Yes.
the T. So you're going to press that. Okay. Now it's putting like almost like a handbrake on the train, effectively. And what you're going to do is you're going to press the P above it. Is it illuminated blue?
Yes.
And now you turn the key to position 0. Now the train is parked.
Okay.
And that's you, if you want to come back through.
Alright.
We're happy with that.
Good on this.
Right.
Enjoy that?